All right, we're live. Welcome back to the stream. 3 days straight. I'm working on my mic. I from the first video I was using my Astro headset, and I don't know. The quality was not as bad as you would think actually, but every time I turned my head, it would get dramatically quieter and louder. So I got this what is it? Blue Nano mic. And I used that yesterday, but I think I had it too close to my mouth. So we're gonna try just having it on the desk and see how that goes. I have a mic stand coming in with the, I don't know what it's called, but like the windscreen and stuff like that. So that should help with the quality. But we're figuring it out. So if you got any tips, let me know. But over here to Underdog Fantasy. This is actually surprising me. I wanted to show you guys this. This first puppy draft is almost full. It's 111,000 is when I get capped out, and this is the progress bar. I think yesterday, or if not yesterday, 2 days ago, it was halfway full, and now it's 3/4. So this is filling up fast. So make sure you get in before it fills up. A lot of the winners will a lot of the winners usually draft early on, so get in there. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Your first deposit will be matched up to $100, so you can get a free $100, which is what I did. It's why I even started this, because I've just been having so much fun with the drafts that I figured I might as well stream it, and I have fun doing that. So get in there, get your free money. When you get your free money, make sure you use code FFX54. It's above my face right there, and it's at the bottom of the screen. If you forget, I was saying it yesterday, but I think I've been watching all my streams back and trying to take notes of where I need improvement. And I think what I do is I rush through my thoughts because I feel like I have to get them out fast, and then I rush through what I'm saying, and I don't think it's clear. So I'm trying to be a little bit more clear. I'm trying to say a little bit less. I was misusing stack. I was saying stack for everything. For every player that was drafted, I basically said that it was a stack, which isn't true. A stack, just for clarification, is when you get a quarterback and a wide receiver, or a quarterback and a pass catching running back, and that acts as a stack because if they have, if the team has a good game, and if you have Keenan Allen go for 2 touchdowns and you have Justin Herbert throwing those touchdowns, you're kind of scratching each other's back. So I go for single stacks. I go for double stacks. Triple stacks is a little bit overexposure, because then you're kind of wasting roster spots, and not all of them are gonna have great games, and it's a little too heavy on the insurance policy side to where you start working against yourself. The draft room that I was in yesterday was crazy. So if you haven't seen that, go watch that. It's the thumbnail with Kirk Cousins with a mustache, because someone drafted him at pick 20. I've never seen that. I've never heard of that. I don't know what they were thinking. And then the other team in that same draft had like a quadruple stack with 2 teams. So they drafted all of the Denver Broncos and all of the Arizona Cardinals. Really wild draft. Craziest one I've been in, and I've been in 21 now. This will be my 22nd. And that I watch YouTube and I watch other people's mock drafts, and I've never seen something that crazy. So go watch that draft if you haven't seen it. But yeah, let's get into today's. I'm really excited. I actively have to try to not draft during the day because I like to save it for the stream. So I get pumped all day for these drafts. So let's get into it. I'm trying to think of some things. I definitely was rethinking some strategies, and we're learning as we go. I don't remember what I've been trying to do and what I've been looking out for, but hopefully remember when we start it. So I don't know. We're learning as we go. Let's get into it. Wait for 2 people. That's nice. Sometimes when you're waiting for 11, when you're the first one in the lobby, you'll wait for a while. So it's nice when you get in the lobby and it's already almost starting. You notice me drink the whole time. I'm not even gonna cap it. I'm not even gonna put the lid back on, because whenever I'm talking this much, I my mouth gets so dry and I start to not be able to talk. So that's why I'm drinking so much. I've been kind of working on the setup. So I got the RGB lights in yesterday. I've had them, but it was just, I think it's a nice little touch, a little underglow. It's another reason I like streaming at night, because I think it looks better on stream with the RGB lights. I'm getting some, I don't know if you guys know who TJ Hunt is. He's a car YouTuber that I've watched for, oh God, probably 8 years now, maybe more. And I'm getting some skate decks in, which I'm really excited about because I used to skate back in the day. So that's going on the wall in the back. I tightened up I cleaned up the scrolling banner at the bottom a little bit. I'm kind of working on not having my face block what I'm looking at. I forget about that sometimes. Kind of all new to me, as we were just saying. This is the third stream I've ever done. So we're working through it. I think we're getting better every day. Trying to take notes and figure out what we can do to be better. That's what it's all about. But in the meantime, we have pick number 10, which I have explained this before, but I love this 10, 11, 12 range a lot. I really don't like being early. I like being on the turn, but I don't like having this number 1 draft spot because Jonathan Taylor doesn't excite me. I know the season he had, but even for running back ones on the season, which is what he was last year, when you see it compared to the past, I saw a graphic of his season, his total fantasy points compared to other top RB1s and their respective seasons and how many points they scored. And his was actually pretty low on the list. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but it was pretty low, and it's very uncommon for someone to repeat as a running back 1 unless their name is Christian McCaffrey and you can stay healthy. So I like being at this end area and get some values. We see Christian McCaffrey go over Cooper Kupp. Not very common, but I don't hate it. And this is the traditional start, not in this order, but you're going to see these 5 players go first, especially in best ball format. You probably won't see it in normal fantasy drafts come, like August. But in normal fantasy drafts, or in best ball fantasy drafts, you're going to see these 5 players going first. So no surprises here yet. But let's look at who we are looking at. I notice I haven't drafted any CD Lamb. I am not. It's no particular reason. I just haven't. I'm usually higher on other players in that range, but I mean, it's a possibility that he's wide receiver 1 overall, and I'll be kicking myself. I don't really know what his ADP is 12, so maybe you can get him on the turn. So here, I'm not going to go with him as my first pick, but I think I'm going to go Derrick Henry at pick 10. Derrick Henry's hard to argue. I don't see him getting injured 2 seasons in a row. I know he's getting a little bit up there in age. If you guys are wondering why I'm always typing in all caps, it's because for my job, that's just the format we use, so I pretty much always have it on. 28, yeah. So he's a lot older, but no one's built like him. So, I mean, he's just a beast. He's the whole offense. Ryan Tannehill is good for some play action, but the whole offense is run and schemed behind Derrick Henry. So, I have been going Derrick Henry if he falls to like 10. But, I mean, I also am high on Najee Harris. I know a lot of people aren't, but I am. I really like the volume that he has. And one thing that I was reminded of today is the whole Steelers offense I was kind of shying away from because we don't know what the quarterback position looks like there next year. But that being said, the quarterback position wasn't really that great last year either. Obviously, Ben Roethlisberger is a Hall of Fame quarterback, but he didn't earn that He didn't earn that title last year. Last year he's kind of horrible. He's like 38. You know, he's ugly as ever. So I know I was just talking about CeeDee Lamb. Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown. Wow, I've never seen this. We'll talk about it here in a second. I'm gonna go Najee Harris with Derrick Henry. I like the double running back start a lot. So that's what we're going to go with. But let's talk about the start, because this is a little out of ordinary right off the bat. Debo, we'll let that slide. That I never see him in the first round, but sometimes you'll see him at the 12-13 turn. You'll see him at pick 13. So that's not super surprising. But AJ Brown and Tyreek Hill is very surprising. And I thought Tyreek Hill was on the Chiefs there for a second, because I was going to say he's going for a double sack with Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, but obviously he's not. But usually Tyreek Hill and A.J. Brown are going towards the 2-3 turn. Sometimes they even make it to the third round. So this isn't very alarming at all, because a lot of times if you're trying to make a different build than usual, if you're at this turn on 12-13 turn, you'll grab someone from the opposite turn, because that a lot of times those players don't fall, especially in these early rounds. So if you reach out to the opposite turn, you can create a little unique build. So that might be what they're going for here. It's nothing like the Kirk Cousins pick at pick 20. That was uncalled for. They have some strategy behind it, so we're not counting them out yet. So Tyreek Hill and AJ Brown went a little bit early. T. Higgins went a little bit early. Mark Andrews went very late. So it looks like this draft room doesn't value tight ends as much. They value running backs a lot. That's obvious. They have picked Saquon Barkley, goes in the third round sometimes. Nick Chubb, I got him at pick 35 yesterday. Alvin Kamara went a little late, but it looks like they're valuing running backs pretty heavy in these first two rounds. So I like our double running back start, because now that we have our two solid anchor running backs, we're going to not look at them for a lot of rounds, unless we get some ridiculous value. But we're not chasing running backs now, which is nice, being that a lot of these elite tier, I think the elite tier running backs end with Nick Chubb. So I don't have to look at that. I got my running backs. We're set. Now we're going to look for a value at tight end or wide receiver. That's what we're going for. I like this start right here. I don't love Josh Allen without a stack. I know the season he had last year, but I just think it should be an unwritten rule that Stephon Diggs' team gets Josh Allen. Maybe that's why a lot of times that Stephon Diggs' team doesn't get Josh Allen, because people are trying to snipe Josh Allen from the Stephon Diggs team, being that this is your lobby you're trying to make it out of to get to that tournament. Top two players move on to the tournament with the chance to win $75,000. So you are playing the lobby to a certain degree, but at the same time, not really. We don't need James Conner. There's no crazy value here, so we're not going to go for him. I haven't been doing a lot. We're going to do Jalen Waddle. Been very high on him. I like the idea of potentially having Tua as a stack option later on, because I like to take my first quarterback and then disregard it as long as I get a good quarterback. I like to lock in one good quarterback and then kind of wait till 134 range, which is where Tua goes. So I like that. And I also just like Jalen Waddle as a player. I think he's a phenomenal talent. He had a really good rookie year. He's got a better offense this year, which is a good thing. Even though it's Tyreek Hill taking some targets away, they're different receivers. They're used for different roles. And having a better offense is never a bad thing. You look at the Bengals, they have, T. Higgins and Jamar Chase will get theirs. They'll both have, T. Higgins had some 40-point games, maybe even a 50-point game last season. Could be wrong about the 50, but he's definitely had some crazy games. And in a better offense, you have more red zone trips, which means more opportunity for that touchdown potential. So I've been liking Jalen Waddle a lot. Tight ends are starting to go. He went with the bully build, Darren Waller, Travis Kelce. I don't love that. I've talked about this before, but that is not really my cup of tea. But we are up. So let's see. I'd like to see what pick I am. I'm pick 39. I haven't been taking a lot of Marquise Brown for no particular reason other than I might be a little bit salty because I'm a Ravens fan. I think I still like Jerry Jeudy over Marquise Brown, but we're going Marquise Brown. Switch it up. I have no Marquise Brown this year. The first 6 games, he's wide receiver 1 in a great offense. So I like that. We're naturally going to go for the... Let me get out of here. We're naturally going to go for the Kyler Murray stack if it gets to us. I think... What pick is Kyler Murray going at nowadays? I never drafted Kyler Murray either. 61, and we're pick 63. So... I don't think I'm going to reach on him. I'm okay if someone takes him. If Stage and Blue take him in one of these 4 picks on this turn, then I'm okay with that. I don't want to reach on him necessarily. If Lamar Jackson makes it to us, I think I'm picking Lamar over Kyler, even though we have the stack, just because of that. I mean, I know obviously I'm a Ravens fan, but I really do think Lamar has MVP season potential. Again, last season was a throwaway. Everyone wants to forget about Lamar and say the Ravens were trash last year. But if, as a fan, we didn't have anybody. We didn't have anybody, including Lamar, for half the season. So I don't even know how you can make that argument how bad we are. So he's seen it. He's seen the comments that people are making, all that talk. He takes it personal. So he might come back with a vengeance. I mean, he's obviously insanely talented, just natural born talent. So I think he is ready to fire up another MVP type season, and RBB thinks that as well, clearly. So we're not going to get Lamar. We're looking for Kyler. We'll see how this shakes out because I'm starting to rethink not reaching on Kyler, being that he's the next quarterback available. I'm not really looking for David Montgomery because I have my 2 anchor running backs. Yeah, I think I might reach on Kyler if we need to. If he gets to us, we'll reach for that stack, and then if we get him, we'll go for DeAndre Hopkins later on for a double stack, hopefully. And I'll be really happy with that. Because if he comes back after his suspension and he takes over as wide receiver 1, then we kind of bake that into our Marquise Brown pick a little bit. It gives us that insurance policy because one of them most likely is going to have a big game. Christian Kirk's gone, so that's not a threat anymore. Marquise Brown is that deep ball threat for them now. So as long as Chris doesn't take him, he doesn't take him. So we're going to go Kyler. I'm cool with that. I like that. I like that a lot, actually. What pick are we? Pick 58. No crazy values. Yeah, we'll go Kyler Murray. Again, this is my first team with Marquise Brown and Kyler Murray. Either of them. So now that this chance kind of fell to me, I like having a team built like that. Looks like DeAndre is going at pick 75. So we might reach on him. You guys see that? Yeah, you guys can see that. I like when I'm over here too because my face isn't in the way. Kind of helps out when I forget. So we're on the clock. Darnell Mooney, Chris Godwin. The only thing is Tom Brady. When's he going? 78. He might fall to us. Might not. Probably not. I don't know if we want to bet on Chris Godwin making it back. That's a far stretch, though. I don't think I'm stretching that far. Maybe we'll go Rondale Moore if DeAndre Hopkins isn't there. But this gives us potential for grabbing Tom Brady next pick. If Tom Brady's available, I'll go with him over DeAndre, even if he's available. Because I think I'd rather have 2 single stacks. Again, stack is a quarterback with their wide receiver. So I think it's better to have 2 single stacks than it is to have 1 double. I don't know that for a fact, but I think I like that more. So that is going to be our plan of attack here. Obviously, a lot can happen before we see our picks again. DeAndre Hopkins goes early, so that's off the table for us right away. We don't have to worry about that. This team is trying to play catch up with their wide receivers because they went 3 running backs right in a row. We did that yesterday. I don't hate that build. Javonte fell to him at 32, so you almost have to take him there. I would have done the same thing, but now he's trying to play catch up, so that's why he's reaching on. When you're playing catch up like this, when you pick 3 running backs and you feel understaffed, I guess, at wide receiver, you kind of are willing to take these shots because DeAndre Hopkins is valued lower than what he would be if he didn't have a suspension. So if you are feeling like you can make it through those first 6 games with the rest of your roster, then once his suspension is up, DeAndre Hopkins hops up to a value more of this 3rd round range, and you're getting a 3rd round player at that point for a 6th round pick if you make it through. So I like taking the shots like Sprice did. So now we're hoping for Tom Brady to make it back to us. Once it gets around pick 79, we'll start looking for alternate options just in case, so we're not rushing. 30 seconds sounds like a long time to pick, but when someone kind of ruins your plan to pick before you and you don't have much time to think about it, you kind of got to audible quick. So it's good to think ahead, and especially when you're on the turn, you have multiple picks back to back. So you want to think ahead a little bit of plan B, and sometimes plan C if your plan A and B are risky. So Russell Wilson goes. I wouldn't be surprised if Tom Brady went before we're up, and there he goes. Okay. So what we're going to do since Tom Brady went is we are going to go 2 tight end, 1 tight end. What 1 tight end does he have? George Kittle. We're going to bet that TJ Hockenson makes it back to us because I think Brandon Ayuk is a far better option than any other of the receivers available right now. So we're going to hope that TJ Hockenson makes it back to us because, again, planning ahead, you look, this team already has 2 tight ends, so they're not going to pick another tight end. If anyone does, it's Stage, and he picked Trey Lance for the George Kittle stack because that's his 1 tight end. So as long as he doesn't pick Hockenson here, we can scoop him and get 2 of the players that we wanted. But let's see how it works out, and then we'll talk about it a little bit more. Because it's all void. It's all null and void if he picks TJ Hockenson. I'm not worried about Blue picking him. Oh, he does go tight end, but he goes for... Okay, we'll talk about this after my pick. We're going to go TJ Hockenson as our first tight end on the board. I don't love these receivers, so that is who I would have went with anyways. So let's talk about the strategy, why I did what I did. Like I said, I'm trying to explain a little bit more my thought process, be more clear on fewer topics than rush through a bunch. We're doing these every day, so we'll get to all of them. But right here, I had TJ Hockenson available at 82. And he was the best tight end available. I didn't like the other wide receivers in this range. I don't like Sky Moore. I don't like Tyler Lockett with the quarterback situation there. I like Brandon Ayuk more than all the receivers in this range, including these two right here. So I knew if I went TJ Hawkinson, Brandon Ayuk would have went to this team because he already has his 2 tight ends. He's not looking for TJ Hawkinson. So I knew this team was going to pass, and this team already had 1 solid tight end. So I was betting that I could take my preferred wide receiver that had a lower ADP than TJ Hawkinson, get him, and weather these 4 picks. Let me lower this a little bit. Weather these 4 picks to get TJ Hawkinson back on the turn because of their tight end situation. If they both didn't have a tight end, I probably would have been a little bit more aggressive on TJ Hawkinson and getting that solid tight end. But I was betting that they weren't going to take a tight end because they already had some. And I was thinking Stage was going to take a tight end later on, not worry about it. He ends up going a tight end, but he skips right over TJ Hawkinson and stacks Dallas Goedert with Jalen Hurts, which is what he also did with Trey Lance and George Kittle. So it ends up working out. We end up getting the person we wanted. We end up getting both the people we wanted. It's a little risky, but again, if you're going for that $75,000 prize, everything has to work out perfect. So you're going for that perfect build. So you got to take those risks. You can't be afraid. It's only a $5 draft, so if this one doesn't work out, just do another one. As I said, it's my 3rd stream, so I'm still getting everything adjusted. Right now, we just have a small Logitech webcam that isn't anything special, and the mount is horrible. So I feel like I'm constantly adjusting it just because it doesn't mount very solid. So I think this is good though. Let's scroll up so we can see what's going on. I don't really know what's been going on back here. Aaron Rodgers and Matthew Stafford go off the board. I do want to... I'm more interested in planning ahead for ourselves than watching these next couple picks because I really don't know what I'm doing right here. Okay, I know what my 2nd pick is going to be. And okay. My first pick was going to be Kareem Hunt. I was debating it for a second due to already having those 2 solid running backs. So I'm okay with Chris taking it because it makes the decision a little easier for me. I think Garrett Wilson is going to be an incredible talent. And whether he's wide receiver 1 or 2, it doesn't really matter for us. Because I think they have such explosive talent that Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson are both gonna have huge games, and Garrett Wilson at this point is our I didn't even realize this, but he's our wide receiver 5. So I've been picking a lot of Garrett Wilson in these drafts, and we're most likely gonna get our pick here on the turn that we want to get because these 2 teams have 2 tight ends already. So obviously we're going for the Zach Ertz, Kyler Murray stack at this point. Rashad Penny goes. He might go Derek Carr. No, he goes Jamal. What's his name? Jamison Williams. That was Jamal Williams, the running back. That would have been a crazy pick. So we're going to go Zach Ertz. This allows us to lock in 2 solid tight ends. We'll probably stop there. We're not going to go 3 tight ends. It gives us a double stack with Kyler Murray. This is also the first time I've taken Zach Ertz as well, so I think it's a little too high still. It's too low. Should be good. Could have went Rondale Moore, but as soon as DeAndre Hopkins comes back, I know his athleticism is impressive, but having a third option so early that I'm not into it. So we go Zach Ertz. We go with that stack. We stop at 2 tight ends, and we just hammer running back and wide receiver for the rest of the draft. I told you early in the draft when we took Jalen Waddle at the 3rd round, I believe, that we were going to look for Tua if we didn't get any other sacks we liked. So now that Tom Brady went before we could grab him, we're now looking for plan B, which is that Tua Jalen Waddle stack. I believe his ADP is like 134, if I'm not mistaken. 136, yeah. So we're going to try to get him on our 2nd pick of this turn at 135. That's a 1-pick reach. Usually a at or above ADP is, you might as well count on it. You might as well count on it because, again, you're going for the perfect build. You're going for everything working out. And if you don't get it, you audible. That's kind of the whole skill you develop. I've talked a little bit about how this is my first time using Underdog Fantasy. Not my first draft. This is my 22nd draft. But it's my first time ever depositing money because of that that free $100 that you can get matched on your first deposit. Use code FFX54 if you decide to do that. It supports me. It allows me to get into some more drafts and stream a little bit more for you guys because I'm going to max out. I'm trying to max out on all of these puppy tournaments and stream them all. But I originally got into I was interested in doing this Underdog Fantasy because of that free $100, but also it's great practice. When you're only joining your office or friend league, that's the only fantasy you do all year. When it comes to that draft, that's your only draft of the year, so you have no practice. And a lot of times I would draft and I don't know. I was bad at drafting, really. I'm still probably bad, but I'm better than I was. So, get some reps in, see where people are going. It's going to be a little different in normal leagues because this is best ball format, so players are valued a little bit differently. But either way, it kind of gives you some practice in doing those quick changes and audibles when you need to. We're going to wait. Oh, God. I don't like anybody, really. What do I want to do? I don't like Jarvis Landry at all. Is anyone up here I like? Not really. I missed my pick. Who'd I get? Okay, we got Jarvis. That's fine. I was gonna take Tua and then Isaiah Spiller just to get some running back depth, but I wasn't even feeling great about that. So sometimes, you know, if you think too long and you get a player in a position that you need but you wouldn't have normally picked, chalk it up to fate. Maybe that's the pick that wins. Maybe you have your guys, but unless you're from the future and you know it's gonna happen, you're gonna have some bad takes on some good players. So maybe my Jarvis Landry analysis is bad. I'm not excited about him, but we have him on a team now, so it is what it is. And now we're gonna go Tua. Just like we talked about, we called it when we took Jalen Waddle. Our quarterbacks are locked in. Our tight ends are locked in. To finish my thought, though, I got talking about this and then I got distracted. Before this autoed Jarvis Landry, my thought was I was looking ahead and I was going to take a third tight end in Gesicki I was going to take Tua at the 130 and then take Gesicki at the 135 and just get a double stack there. Having 3 tight ends is not, you know, 3 elite tight ends isn't the worst thing in the world, because even if you have 2 tight ends have big games, if your flex position needs some points that week, then they'll fill in there, and especially when you have a stack with the quarterback. So that was my thought, but we're going to go Jarvis Landry. I didn't realize that Michael Thomas was going to miss the beginning of the season. I believe that's correct. He's been so wishy-washy. I don't know about him anymore. I'm not even betting that he starts the season as a Saint, to be honest. There's a lot of bad blood over there with the whole rehab process and how they felt about the way he handled it. So I'm hoping the Ravens get him. Obviously, I would love that. We need a elite receiver. I'm high on Rashad Bateman and his talent, but when Devin Duvernay is our wide receiver 2, we're gonna need a little bit of help. I'm not saying that he's horrible, but he'll be a good third option deep threat if we can find another elite receiver. So Michael Thomas, I do think it's in the range of outcomes that the Ravens trade for him. If not the Ravens, I think it's possible someone else trades for him. So we'll see, but I think he's going to miss the beginning of the season, and that adds value to Jarvis Landry. So could be wrong on him, could be wrong on the take I had on him, and we really were given no choice when it autoed for us. So maybe it's a blessing in disguise. Here's a question for you guys. Is it blessing in disguise or blessing in the skies? I'm pretty sure it's disguise. I've always said blessing in disguise with a D. But let me know what you guys think. I used to know someone that thought instead of play it by ear, they thought it was play it by year, like month, year, which that makes no sense. Why would you play it by year? If anything, you want to play it by day, play it by hour, play it by year. Although play it by ear doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. I guess I don't know. We're getting off topic. We're in 2 picks. We need a strategy here. Okay, this is a player that I've actually gotten a little bit excited about. I've gotten a little excited about him over the course of the day. We're not going to take him yet, but we'll take him next pick. Very low on David Bell. Again, could be wrong, but I think that that's another team that probably will get an elite, maybe not even elite, but just another receiving option. And David Bell all of a sudden becomes wide receiver 3 or 4. And I don't know much about David Bell. I know a decent amount about the rookies I've done research in, and you'll see the rookie that I'm higher on. But I just have never, I never take David Bell. Five receivers, 6 receivers. Let's see what Stage does here. I mean, it's very possible our player gets taken from under us. We don't have a wide or running back 3 yet. Going for, is that a hyper fragile running back build? I think hyper fragile is when you have 1 player. We have 2, and again, everything needs to be perfect if you win the tournament. He jumps to Will Fuller. That's interesting, but I can't knock him for it because I don't like a lot of these receivers. Hopefully Blue doesn't take our guy. And he does take our guy. Okay. We were going to go with Alec Pierce. I think he has a very real possibility of being a wide receiver too. I think it's probably pretty likely. But he gets taken, and we need some running backs probably. So that's fine. We'll go with Kenneth Gainwell. I think he has a role regardless of if Miles Sanders stays healthy, but Miles Sanders has always had an issue staying healthy. So if he goes down, Kenneth Gainwell's he moves up in value, and we grab him pretty low. So, as running back 3, that is fine with me. I don't like Joshua Palmer. I don't like David Bell. Robbie Anderson could be a dark horse wide receiver if let's say Jimmy Garoppolo goes to Carolina. I think Robbie Anderson's value shoots up overnight. So I've been taking Robbie Anderson over Joshua Palmer and David Bell, as does Pell and Sports, as does Pavinger. Why can't they? Well, okay, never mind. I was gonna say, why can't they make names that we can read, but I don't know how you read my name either, unless you know it is, what is that acronym? Palindrome? What is it? Actually, funny story, FFX doesn't even mean anything. This was my gamer tag from when I was in middle school, when I was probably, 11? And I made it because there is I'll show you. There is a Ferrari. I thought it was FFX, but it's actually FXX. So my name isn't even a real thing. The FXX was a Enzo race car, basically a Ferrari Enzo, but a race car version. This is the FXX. I thought it was sick, so I made that my gamer tag. And then 54 was my rec football number. Absolute stud out on the field. Lockdown corner. Back when I was 9, I would have went pro. I probably would have been in these drafts if I didn't hurt my ankle in 8th grade. I had a lot of scouts looking at me, and unfortunately it didn't work out. So it is what it is. But with that football knowledge, we take it to these drafts, and we're going to win some big money. Probably more than I would have made in the NFL anyways, which would have been a lot. So we have 7 wide receivers already. So I think we need to go. Yeah, I might go another running back here. I'm going to go handcuff. No, I'm not. Okay. Actually, yes, I am. I'm going to go a handcuff running back in Jamal Williams in the event he has a role already locked down on the Detroit Lions offense. I think the offense is actually going to be better than people think this year. So he'll get some goal line touches regardless. But if anything happens to DeAndre Swift, he's a smaller back, so it's possible. Obviously, we're not rooting for injuries, but if that does happen, then Jamal Williams probably becomes a top 10 back on a per week basis. So, I mean, in this range, those are the running backs you're finding. You're not going to find a workhorse at this range. No, you're looking for backups and rookies. So, at this point, we have 2 quarterbacks done. We have 2 tight ends done. Probably. Maybe I take one if I don't like any of the other options. So now we're really just looking for running backs and wide receivers. We'll keep an eye out for tight ends, but we don't need one. I'm hoping my guy makes it to me. I've been really liking him in drafts, and he does make... This guy did not have to take Bryan Edwards that early. He's usually undrafted, so that wasn't necessary. Maybe he really wanted to make sure he got him, but I've been going Marvin Jones. I talked about this a little bit yesterday. This is another thing. Maybe you guys give some feedback, but I'm trying to... My theory is that I keep doing this thing where I say, we talked about this yesterday, but odds are no one's viewing this video at all. But if we do get a view or two, I think it's very unlikely that they watched yesterday's video. So until we're getting a bunch of views per stream, even then, I don't think referring to previous streams makes sense. So that's something I kind of was analyzing about myself, and I think it's a good strategy. I think that's a good lesson to be learned. But anyways, I like Marvin Jones this year. Oh my God, we're almost on this draft. This is crazy. That flew by. Wow. I've been liking Marvin Jones a lot because I think everyone's stuck on Christian Kirk coming in and being a wide receiver 1 because they paid him. But Marvin Jones was brought in last year. Trevor Lawrence was a rookie. He's going to be better. He has more options. Marvin Jones is the veteran presence on that offense because other than him, there's no real older guys. Who's their new tight end, though? Oh, man. Who's their new tight end? Evan Ingram. Yeah, he's not a vet either. So Marvin Jones is the veteran. I think he's a safety blanket for Trevor Lawrence. I think it's very possible he's still the wide receiver 1. Regardless. I don't think it's Laviska Shenault. I think Christian Kirk is a deep threat. So I think most of the targets are going to Marvin Jones still. And when you can get him in the 16th round, compared to the other people available, John Mechie, Nico Collins, Kendrick Bourne, I've been taking him. Kendrick Bourne will probably have 1 week with 40 points and then 0 for the rest of the year. Nico Collins and John Mechie are interesting because they're both rookies on the Texans, if I'm not mistaken. So I know Mechie was taken above Nico Collins in the 2nd round. So I have made the bet on John Mechie a few times. Never taken Nico Collins. Again, this is probably a research deficit that I should be putting a little bit of effort into because I've been trying to read some reports about how these new rookies are performing in OTAs, but there's some rookies I just don't know much about, and John Mechie and Nico Collins and Braven Jordan for that matter, they're in that category of people I don't really know much about, and I don't really know if I care a whole lot because Davis Mills is their quarterback. I don't know if anyone remembers, but he was putting up some pretty decent fantasy games last year on a really bad offense, so I think he could take a step this year, potentially. But if I'm making bets on receivers, I don't think I'm ever going Texan receivers other than Brandon Cooks. I think you guys can see that pretty well. I did kind of window it, so it's above my head. But we'll see who falls to us. Wide receiver, running back is still who we're looking for. Okay, OBJ goes. That was going to be our pick. I think I go Deontay Foreman here. He had some decent games with the Tennessee Titans last year when Derrick Henry was out. And now he is on the Carolina Panthers. They must have liked what they saw. Christian McCaffrey is extremely injury prone, obviously, which is why I haven't picked him in any of my leagues yet. Could be a horrible decision. Could be the worst decision I make all year, because I don't think I'm changing my mind on that. But in the event of him going down, I believe Deontay Foreman is next up. So I like that pick. We talked a little bit about the Ravens offense earlier on. Hopefully they do get another wide receiver that can come in and help out. But if they don't, and even if they do, we talked about it earlier, Devin Duvernay is a good option. No more Marquise Brown on the Ravens, so Devin Duvernay is a speedster, deep ball threat. So we're looking for 2 big games with the upside of being wide receiver 2 on a good offense. So I've been liking that pick as well. Yeah, I think I like this draft a lot. I think the weakest point of my team is... Let's see. I think the weakest point of my team is the tight end position. I could have went 3, but I was keeping an eye out. If someone came up that I liked, I would have taken him, obviously, because I looked for that Michael Gesicki pick at 130 as my third tight end option. But I'm okay with letting it ride with TJ Hockenson and Zach Ertz. I don't think they're going to put together 10, 15-point games every week, but you know, they are fairly decent players, or fairly decent tight ends. You know, once you get out of the George Kittle range at tight end, TJ Hockenson is really your next best bet. Dalton Schultz, fine, but jeez, that scared me. It's my dog. Let's meet him. Who is this? Hello? Hello? Come on in. We're streaming. Come on. This is Ziggy, and this is Ziggy. They are the underdogs. Okay. All right. So this draft is wrapping up. I think we're gonna stop after 1 because we're big Celtics fans over here, and the finals are going to be on in 30 minutes. So we're going to go watch that. Let's look at the team one more time. So we end up with Kyler and Tua at quarterback, which I like because I don't have any Kyler Murray yet. I mean, now I do, but before this, I had none. And we went with that Marquise Brown pick earlier on, so I like stacking Kyler Murray with Marquise Brown since this is the first draft that we've taken either of them. And we talked a little bit about this, but Marquise Brown is going to be a really good option, wide receiver 1 potential in the first 6 games of the season. Then it kind of dwindles to a wide receiver 2 option. But once he is dwindling, Chris Godwin is coming up as a wide receiver 1 option. So there'll be a little bit of trade-off there. Marquise Brown will go to my 3rd option on my team, and then Chris Godwin will bump up to the 2nd. So it's kind of an insurance policy with a late season bloomer in Chris Godwin to take over the deficit that Marquise Brown is going to see once DeAndre Hopkins comes back. So I like that pair. I like the Jalen Waddle stack with Tua. I think that's going to be a really good offense. I think they're going to put a lot of points up. Moving down the wide receiver list, we have Brandon Ayuk. Great talent. He had an amazing first year, his rookie season. Last year was pretty disappointing. I know because I drafted him in all of my drafts, and he did nothing until I dropped him. Then he had a spike week, picked it back up, and then did nothing again. So pretty disappointing season last year, but Debo and George Kittle get injured all the time. So if either one of them gets injured, Brandon Ayuk immediately becomes as valuable. Maybe not as valuable, but he shoots up in value, and I believe in his physical ability, his talent. So we're good with that. Garrett Wilson, we'll see. I mean, he's a great receiver. He has a lot of potential, but we will see if Zach Wilson can take the next step because, I mean, obviously I'm not really watching a whole lot of Jets games. I don't know if anybody is, but they do have a lot of weapons. He might take a step. Even if he takes a baby step, Garrett Wilson, even if he doesn't take a step at all, and he takes some targets from Elijah Moore. You saw Elijah Moore have some huge games last year, so maybe Garrett Wilson comes in and does the same thing. I like that build. I said before, I've been taking a lot of Garrett Wilson. Jarvis Landry, that wasn't even my pick, really. But that range was so gross that I don't really care a whole lot. We'll see. I'm not high on him, but I'm not really high on anyone in that range. So maybe that is a fate situation, and we'll just kind of shake it out. When he was in looking around, there was some talk of him coming to Baltimore, which I was really rooting for. I thought he fit in the Baltimore Ravens offense perfectly, and I think that if he wasn't from New Orleans, he probably would have came to Baltimore. He wants to go to a winning team because the Browns are never going to win, no matter who they put on that team. So he wanted to go to a winning team that had potential, and unfortunately, he chose the Saints. Crowded wide receiver room for now because they just drafted Chris Olave, and I've heard he's been looking good in OTAs and training camp, and obviously Michael Thomas. People forgot about him because he's been injured, but he when he comes back, he'll take over the wide receiver 1 role again if he's still on the team, and then Jarvis Landry becomes a slot option. So not a super exciting pick, but I'm not really super excited about anyone in that range. So that's fine. I picked Corey Davis because of the insurance policy behind Garrett Wilson. As long as Elijah Moore doesn't have a big game, which he might. I've been picking a lot of Elijah Moore as well in other drafts. But if Elijah Moore doesn't have a big game, that means Garrett Wilson and Corey Davis probably did. So that's why we went with Corey Davis. Kind of get a team stack and build in a little bit of insurance policy. I don't know if that's a play in best ball. That might be kind of a theory that I carried over from normal fantasy drafts. So, like I said, this is all a learning process. I'm not really sure what's going to work out and what's not, but all we can do is have our strategies, have our guys, believe in them, and we'll see how we do at the end of the year. We'll learn from that, and then we'll come back next year and implement any of those changes that we notice. A little bit of research I have done in looking at old winning teams on last year's tournaments. So I've been basing some of my strategy from that. I think there's some things to be learned there, but every year's changing, and what worked last year might not work this year. So I don't think wide receivers were valued as heavy last year as they are this year. And the same with quarterbacks. So the strategies are always changing across the board, but as we go through these drafts, we're getting better and better. We're happier with more of our teams than we were when we started. I'll show you this now. Again, I showed it in my first stream, but odds are nobody saw that. So we'll show it again, and I think it's funny. So if we go to our first draft on Underdog Fantasy, this team was just absolutely horrible. I knew it when I was drafting. I mean, it was like I choked. At every pick, I just choked and picked horribly. Let's give it a quick look. Where do we pick? We picked third, which I don't like that anyways. We went with Justin Jefferson. I'm fine with. Leonard Fournette, fine with. Kyle Pitts, don't love it. DK Metcalf, don't love it. But this Lamar, Jalen Hurts back-to-back was atrocious. I think that just killed our entire team. Because we needed running backs desperately, as well as wide receivers. And the wide receivers that went before, like here, I don't know. I don't think we could have reached for Devontae and got a stack with Jalen Hurts later if we were thinking ahead of time. But again, this is the first draft, so we weren't thinking ahead at all. We were just kind of picking based on value and who we liked, which didn't have a whole lot of thought behind it. So, like, I'm okay with taking Lamar, but when we come back around and we're taking Jalen Hurts over Elijah Mitchell, Josh Jacobs, Michael Thomas, even Elijah Moore, I don't think that is smart when we only have one running back. I think we should have taken probably Josh Jacobs here. Secured a running back too. Where's this bend? Let's see. Boom, wait, boom, 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 skirt. Yeah, so we're going this way. So if we took Oh, no, we wouldn't have had Josh Jacobs available. We would have had Miles Sanders available. So maybe the Jalen Hurts pick was okay. I think the strategy I had here was actually to pick Jalen Hurts and hope Devontae Smith fell to us. I don't know. Maybe I was thinking something here, but when our running back 2 is Tony Pollard and Kareem Hunt, that's kind of scary. So I think that this first draft was horrible. When you compare it to today's draft, this is a much more balanced team. Solid quarterbacks, solid running back 1 and 2. A solid, what is this? 9-player wide receiver room. I've been liking that a lot. I like going 9 wide receivers, building that cushion. You have 3 wide receiver scores counting every week and a flex. So going with 9 wide receivers gives you the highest chance of maxing out your 3 wide receiver positions as well as hopefully your flex. So I like that. And then a 2 middle to upper pack tight ends. Much more balanced team. Projected 2.7, 2.9. I don't know how this projects, and I don't ever trust it. I'm always curious to see what it says, but I don't think it means much personally. Yesterday's draft. This, again, if you guys didn't see this draft, you need to go back and watch the video with the Kirk Cousins thumbnail, because this was the craziest draft I've ever seen, personally and on YouTube. So I would watch that. It was just ridiculous. We had a guy named Loki in there that was just making every pick wrong. So it's probably a fun watch. But yeah, our drafts have been a lot more balanced lately. They make a lot more sense. We get some stacks in there. We get a balanced team. So we've been getting better. We have a long way to go, but we have been getting better. And we'll continue to improve as we go through these daily streams. If you guys are looking to sign up and you are looking to do some Underdog best ball fantasy drafts of your own, go to Underdog Fantasy. Your first deposit up to $100 will be matched 100%. So that's free money. And then spending that $200 that you have in your account is going to be some of the most fun you ever had. It's going to last a long time. It's a great thing to do. Just kind of while you're chilling and winding down for the day, or if you're bored at work, if you are bored while you're in the bathroom, if you're bored while you're in bed, if you're bored when you're watching TV, if you're watching the NBA Finals game and you're bored, you can always do a draft. It's 1 hour, a lot of fun. And being that it's 1 hour, your money goes slow too. You're not going to blow through your $200 right away. So go to Underdog Fantasy, sign up, get your free money. When you sign up, use code FX54. That will allow us to get into 2 extra drafts, which means 2 extra streams for us. And we will continue to learn as we go. So have a good night. Go Celtics. Sign up for Underdog Fantasy. Peace out.